So Godot 4 has added an absolutely ridiculous amount of content, so much so that tons of tiny things get lost. So I've found these 4 tiny cute things that really just make life in the engine better because you can tell that they've been born out of a necessity. So let's just dive into these cool new improvements. So arrays are lovely, they've always been lovely, but typing them's been hard. That is describing what the data in each item in the array would be. You could only do that from a limited selection of types. Now you can do it for anything. And exporting it is a breeze, but the documentation for it's a bit naff. Well, at least it's not present yet. So if I go over to a script, I export a new variable and I call it typed array. And then I set the type. I can set the type to be array, and then in square brackets, I can say what I want the array to contain. So if I want packed scenes, I can just type packed scene in there. Now if I save it, and I jump over to Inspector, I click my typed array, you can see we have an array and we have elements that we can add here. And if I add an element, it will be a packed scene every time. Really useful if you have like an expansible level selector and you want to drag and drop levels into an array in the Inspector. Really cool stuff. You've always been able to drag paths to scenes from where they are in the file system into the script panel. So if I take this animation over here and I want a path to it, I can just drag over there like that and I get the absolute path in the system to where the animation scene is. You normally want to load or preload something, so you can probably guess where I'm going. If you hold Control and drag and click, didn't work first time. Oh well. If you hold Control and drag and click, it will give you the path but automatically preloaded. That's also just really cool. If you've spent much time with shaders, a mainstay of hanging around in online places where people post shader code is seeing people redefine common constants all the time. You'll see pi, tau, and e all over the place because they're irrational numbers, so you can't describe them with a division of 2 other numbers. You just need to write it out to however many decimal places you're willing to. And you'd have to define that every shader that uses pi or tau, which is a lot of them if you're doing radians or anything like that. Well, now they're built in. If you jump over to a material and you just type in pi, type in tau, type in e, they're all there and built in. So that will make copy and pasting stuff just a little bit cleaner, and it's just a little nice. It's just nice. The last thing I want to talk about is XForm. If you've done much 3D stuff, you'll probably be familiar with XForm. If you're not, it'll seem weird and confusing because it's to do with bases and vectors. But what you would use XForm for is if you had a camera and say you wanted to move in the direction the camera was pointing. So if I hold W and I'm looking right, I want my character to move right. What you need to do is you need a way of turning your vector input to be in the direction of whatever way the camera's facing, and that's described by its basis. What you do is you take the basis of the camera and you use the XForm function on your input, and you'll have an input relative to what way the camera's facing. XForm's gone, and it's been replaced by the multiplication symbol, and this betrays a deeper change in Godot 4, which is that operator overloading, a popular thing in computer science that can be a bit hairy, is now commonplace, and XForm used to be described in the documentation as multiplication, so swapping it over to the multiplication symbol does make sense, which is cool. If you're as excited as I am about Godot 4, then you may be excited to hear that I've got a course in pre-production at the moment. It's called Godot for Beginners, and it's going to be available on itch.io. There's a demo you can download right now, and in the next couple of weeks we're going to have the first batch of source code and written guides coming out. And it's going to cover the transition from Godot 3 to Godot 4, whilst showing you a bunch of essential effects that you can recreate yourself in the current iteration of the alpha. Another thing I wanted to broach was the idea of doing a series concurrently along with my tutorials, going over the development of a project. This is the game you've seen behind me over here, and that is, it would be nice if I could do development of that game to support research into things to make tutorials about. So please do comment and say what you think of that as an idea. Okay, thanks. Pleasure.